Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Vince McSham with you here. It's that time of the year. We're in the countdown mode, and as I do every year, I got to start putting stuff together so I can start putting some created content out there, and also have it ready for myself because I'm going to need it for the storylines we're doing. So, switch screens here real quick, and hopefully this will all turn out the way I want it to. Take a sneak peek on my. So what we're getting ready to do here is create some face textures for 2K20. Just give me one moment. I want to make sure the stream's looking okay. Make sure we're seeing the right stuff here. Yep, that looks right. Okay, so here's how we started off. Got a blank square here. It's a 512 by 512 pixel. That is a standard size for the game, and it works out really well. From here, that's going to be my template, and everything else I'm going to just keep dropping in here, and then I will save the faces afterwards. Or the logos, depending what it is we're working on. So there's different ways of doing it. Last week when I was starting to set things up, you saw me going in here and taking some screenshots of created wrestlers that I've already downloaded, and I thought the faces were really good, so I'm just going to actually take those faces and make a scan out of that, and it's doable. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, but some of these are really clean and they look great, and I won't find a better photograph, so I'm going to stick with using these because they're going to make a better end results. So let's start with going here. We're going to start on Benoit, the Canadian Crippler. Whatever your opinions may be, in ring, the guy was something else. Unfortunately, what he did outside the ring is what he's better known for, and that's too bad. All right, so all I'm doing, obviously, is moving the background. First thing you want to do is start off with your scissor tool there, which is going to give you that erasing of the background, and then that'll allow it to stay that way. So in other words, whatever's left is all that will come out, and that's all you want is the face. You don't want anything else. Your brush type, that depends on what it is you're doing. Right now, we're using a 250. And we're using a blurred brush, and I think I'm going to change that from that blur effect that you see there to a harder effect. That's what she said. And we'll jump up to about 210, huh? 210. Let's see what 210 does. Does not have to be exact because at the end of the day it won't matter. Anything that's got this darker tint to it, you really want to get rid of that because it'll come out looking like a burn if you keep it in there. And we're still going to soften all these edges up before it's all said and done. And again, I found that this works out pretty well. But there are a couple of little things we're going to want to do to tweak this up. Now, because of the size, I don't want to screw this up too bad. So what I'm going to do is go in here and let's see. Is it the one? No. I'm going to grab that. And this tool here is going to allow us, it's our lasso. There are several different versions of it you can use. I like the one where I control it. And I just kind of dot around the edges of what I want to keep. Then I remove everything else, and I'll just kind of lasso it. So everything that's inside that lasso is going to disappear when I start erasing. This will only erase the things inside the lasso. That'll keep everything else safe. And there you have that. A couple of different things you can do with the eyes. You can leave them. I don't recommend that because you end up getting part of the eyes and the eyeballs on the eyelids, and then when he blinks, it looks kind of silly, creepy. The other thing you can do is something I was doing last year, which is kind of blur it all together. I think I'm going to try something even a little bit different than both of those options this time. So we're going to bring this down to a tight point there. And then we're going to go to color selection, and we will go with that flesh tone. Oh, yeah, there it goes. And then all we're going to do... Oops, got to get rid of that lasso, sorry. Because, again, all it's going to do is what's inside the lasso and nothing else. So we need to get rid of that. Then go back to the paintbrush. And it's easier to work on, actually, if you want to scale it in a bit and make it larger. And again, this is not going to be exact. It's okay. Because we're going to blur this up in a minute. That's good enough. How do we blur it up, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to go to our blur tool, which is somewhere over here. Where to hide? Yeah, there it is. Otherwise referred to as a smudge. And you can determine how big the size will be. We're going to shrink that down a little bit. You can also go with how strong the smudge effect will be. We're going to bring that down a little bit. And what this does, as you can see, is just kind of blends it all together. Smooth like that. And again, I'm trying to remove the darker pronounced colors because they'll pop. And not necessarily in a good way. Go back to our eraser tool here. Ooh, that's large. That's what she said. Jesse, what's up, man? I am using, actually I didn't mention that, so thank you for bringing it up, Photoshop. But there are several others out there that all do the same thing and almost identical in style, so. Bring this down a little bit more. There we go. Just want to take away, again, the extra darks. Like so. For the mouth, I want to be a little more precise. Let me try the smudge. See if that'll work the way I want it to. Let's take the... Yeah, it's not too bad. That'll tone that down a little bit. Now, that's most of it done right there. However, we do now want to go in and soften it up, and then we're going to lighten it up. And how we're going to do that is real simple. Back to our eraser tool. And earlier we were showing the brush opacity, I guess you could call it, is how much the erase effect will take. Let's make it larger because we're going to want to cover a larger area. Not quite that large. That should be good. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fade this out. That's a little more than I want to go. So Control Z will undo your last command. A couple of things. Number one, I wanted to go with the furry brush again. Yeah, the soft brush. Like so. And for that, you want to just stay outside the edges, and it'll kind of creep in on its own and catch them. Like so. Now I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so I can get a little more precision on what I'm doing here. And again, these really dark shades here, I need those to kind of fade out very lightly. So this image will still be there. The areas I'm going to leave mostly are going to be right around these, the eyes and nose and the mouth area. That's the part that's going to kind of need to stick around more or less. Now we're going to go, I'm going to say 80%, maybe 79. All right, 79 will work. And I'm just going to wash out the whole remaining portion of it. I might want to go back and redo that. I think that might be too light. It looks extremely light now, which I get, but when you put it on the model, not so much. Let's bring it down to 30. Wrong thing. I'll get it right, don't you worry. There we go. So 24%, 25%, somewhere in that area. And again, I want to leave a lot of the eye area intact. Again, we have some really darks in here, so I want to take some of that out a little bit, because otherwise it's going to really be prominent and probably make a not so hot looking scan. And I'll just remove some more of that. And again, it looks kind of super light right now, like there wouldn't be anything. You'd be surprised just how much that will come through on the final product, and it will. All right. Half tempted to test this one out. Now, I've got a Benoit from last year. I just wasn't overly thrilled with it, so I figured I'd try something else. These are the faces we did from last year. Now, you want to make sure you save this as a ping. This way, the invisible parts remain invisible. But we're not done yet, though. Hold that thought. Here's where it gets interesting. We need a flesh tone base. Let's see who we want to use for that. I think we'll use this. That works. And then we go back to that original square 512 by 512 pixel. And we're just going to drop the color in there, and there's a little blotch down there on the bottom. We'll just paint that over. Make that all even. Okay, now what we're going to do is take the Benoit face we just worked on, and now look at that. Even though it was invisible a little while ago, now all of a sudden it's very visible, and now we have to do is scale it up because we want it to fit inside this box and use most of the box doing it. And let's say right about there. And now we have that. So, a couple of things you can do. If you're happy with it the way it is, then fine, you're good to go. You can see that a lot of the stuff that was dark over here is now not dark anymore because we super lightened it up, and then we just put it on a solid background for a facial tone. There's still some darks in here that are going to be pretty tough to deal with. So we're going to go back in here. Got to select the layer we're working on. That would help. And again, size this brush down a bit. And just take those darks out because they're just going to mess up your final product. Even the ones that look subtle will not be. And right now this is only going to erase the top layer because that's what we've highlighted over here. The base layer is going to stay completely intact. With that in mind, you could also go back if you so wanted to. Let's bring this up. Get that small enough. And bring our opacity up. That's another way you can get the eyelids to work for you. Because basically what we're doing is erasing the top layer and just letting the bottom layer seep through. That's going to be the scan we're going to try getting to work on when the game drops. We just do a little last minute touch-ups around here. It's definitely a case of less is more. So the other thing you can do is merge these two together and make one level, and then you can blur this all out. Not so sure I want to do that. Still noticing a lot of dark going on over here, though, that I'm a little concerned with. So, again, better not to have it at all. The main key things you want to have is this area here. Imagine a mask with just the eyes, nose, and mouth. If you have that and it's clean, then you don't need so much the rest of this stuff. You can do that with the model itself. All right, I'm going to use that. So we're going to go ahead and save it as. We are in the Phase 2K20, which will be 20 as well. And we'll label it as Benoit 2. Because I already have Benoit in there. And again, you have to make sure you save it as a PNG file. Or as I refer to them as a ping. You got to get that, otherwise you're not going to get the image you want. And now all I'm going to do from this point on is I've got that highlighted, and now I'm just going to delete it. And I'll move on to the next one. So safe to say they're not going to do a Chris Jericho this year. This is a great picture I found online. Very clean, evenly lit. I have to do very little to this picture. So we're going to start by just cropping his face out because they did such a sharp job on this. Bam. Sometimes it's just that easy. And then we'll go back over here again, pull up our template, drag and drop. quick second here. Oh my god, so much malware. My other computer that I'm trying to monitor the stream from picked up some viruses, and I don't use it for much other than making videos off of YouTube stuff and things like that, so I don't really particularly care about it anymore from that aspect. That sounds sad, doesn't it? Yeah, it's the truth, though. Just trying to... All right, finally, there we go. All right, Jesse, I'm with you. Excuse me. Jesse wants to know if I have the same method for logo creation. Sort of, and I'll show you that next, because I've got some logos down there we're going to use as well. So we got Benoit's face in there. Let's go back to our eraser tool once again. We want to start, because it's a new picture now, and we're on the top layer only. We're just going to start with the scissor, which is going to cut it out, which is going to set you up in the way you want to be set up for that ping mode. For right now, I'm going to go 100%. It's got the blur brush, and we're at 40. That might actually work pretty well. Let's see. Might not have to switch that one. Want all the hair to be gone. Again, anything dark is going to just stand out. Unless they've changed something this year that's a little bit more workable. And that's one of the first things I'm going to be curious to see is the Creation Studio. Have they done anything to enhance that, to make it more user-friendly? It'll be interesting. Because of all these features that things like Photoshop have, and there's a whole bunch of free ones on the internet, you just have to be careful about malware and adware. All right. Again, this one is so good. I'm not going to do a whole lot to it. What I will do at this point is get a bigger brush. And we'll take the opacity down to about, say, 70. By the way, you can just type in the number 70 in this box if that's what you need to be that precise. You can do that. Now I've got to ask myself, do I feel that's too light or not? And it's going to be tough to tell. But I want to go up a little higher. Let's try 75. $75 could work. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go smaller on the brush. Again, I want to leave the eyes in particular. relatively intact. I'm going to get rid of that scar. And in this case, I'm also going to get rid of the very bright stuff, because that will also have a not too pleasant effect. Let's go a little smaller on the brush for finer detail. And then we've got the mouth. We don't want those teeth because they'll be on top of the lips and it'll look pretty unnerving. So we can go to our smudge tool once again. And what you can do is just kind of smudge the lips up from the bottom. And you don't have to go very far. And then from the top, drag them down so that they kind of meet. Now it's going to look a little wonky, I get that. But once it's placed on the model, you'll be hard pressed to notice it. Okay, we get those dark corners of the mouth there, and again, extreme dark and extreme light. Be extremely bad. 75 opacity, really? Okay. In this case, on Jericho's eyes, we're going to try a different method, which is using the lasso tool. And grab that eraser. Just wipe them out, and then the background comes through. Somebody during the last stream had suggested going to your utility segment in the game, logo utility, and pulling up the face scans from there rather than take the shot of the model. And the problem with that is when you pull those up, it's almost like a paint by numbers effect. They're very blotchy, and you're not going to get any kind of a good quality out of that, unfortunately. I wish there was a way to grab the actual file. That would be the way to do it. Okay. So I've got some concerns about the color tones here on his face with that bright red, and what we're going to do, just to be on the safe side, is change that. So let's go to our image. Let me see, a little rusty on this part. Enhance. Yeah. We're going to go to adjust the color. And we'll go with hue and saturation first and see how we do with that. A lot of times you can take care of it right here. So that makes it more red, and here we go, a little bit more of a tan. Okay, now let's go back in layer. I'll make it enhance, I beg your pardon. That was the color with the hue. And we can adjust the color curves here. Oh, that's not what I wanted, sorry. Go with brightness and contrast as well. And then last but not least, we're going to hit it with one more. There we go. All right, now what I think I would do in a situation like this, just because of the colors, and I do want this to look a little bit more uniform, is using the blur tool once again, kind of strategically here, because you don't want to lose the shapes that you've acquired. But you can definitely blend these all together, make it look a little more seamless. There we go. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Undo that last step there because I wasn't happy with the way it came out. Still not happy with it. This will also take care of some of the little imperfections in the face scan itself. There we go, kind of like that. Everything Pro Wrestling, what's up? Thanks for stopping by, man. How you doing? Gonna leave that as is. All right, we're going to stick with that and hope that works out for us. Once again, going to save as. Make sure you put it to a ping file, otherwise you're going to lose it. All right, once again, that layer is selected. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to move on to the next, which in this case, we're going to do a logo for Jesse. You wanted to see that. Let's see. Let me start by going to the logo slot. In this case, I don't necessarily need to use the 512 by 512 square. I may do that, but so we have the King of Hearts logo, for example. What I do with this is different. I will go to the magic wand, and then I click in that area, and you can see it automatically lassos everything pretty quickly for you. And this is almost always going to be your best friend in this scenario. Then I'm going to go pretty large with that. And I forgot to go here. Make sure you use that scissor first, then go, and it will automatically cut it out and remove it. And that is just how quickly you can make that all work. And keep going over the area a few times, because there's always like a little thing you miss, and then that shows up on the attire when you're putting it together, and it kind of ruins the moment. Now all I'm going to do is crop out everything except for the logo. Just cut it way down. Boom. And I'm good to go. And then we're going to save that one. Now this is not going to go in the same file. Desktop, please. Thank you. I'm going to put this in the 2K attire file so I know where to find it. Again, it's going to be a PNG file. And go with Owen King for the name. And save that. Hit OK, and we're good to go. So that's how I do the logos. Done. It's taking a little bit longer to save than usual. There we go. We got the WCW door. Just going to pretty much crop it. That's it. Not even sure I'll be using it, so that's why I don't want to spend a ton of time. Now, in this case, you can make it a PNG file also, but you can also leave it as a JPEG because there's nothing about it that's going to be invisible. So I'm going to keep it as a JPEG. Here we've got Dean Malenko's tights design. We're going to do the same exact thing. Go to our lasso. Highlight everything around it. We're going to grab our eraser. First, make sure you go to the scissor effect. Then right away you can click over to your full-on eraser. And again, we're going to crop it. Try it again. Pop that out. Then we're going to go once again to the eraser. Bring this way down in size. Well, maybe not quite that much. And get rid of this stuff here. Clean it up a little bit. Otherwise, that'll end up on his tights or his legs or something, and it's going to not look so hot. There you go. And again, I'll go with a JPEG on that. And we'll save it. We're good to go. Now, I'm probably not going to do all of these that I've got up here right now, because there's a lot. But a couple of them I definitely want to kind of get to and bang them out. This is probably the first thing I create, only because I know by uploading this I'll get a lot of downloads, and that'll get me to open slots faster. There's going to be a lot of demand for John Moxley, and I know that's going to be one of the first ones a lot of creators put out with the same exact logic. So I'll just stand by my work, and whoever wants it can get it. And hopefully it'll turn out half as good as Billy Kidman did last year, because I was really happy with the way Kidman turned out. Still one of my highest rated downloads or creations from last year from 2K19. Really happy that I found a clean-shaven, or a pretty clean-shaven picture of him, because that'll make it easier to put whatever facial hair you want. He does change his look up kind of frequently when it comes to that. All right. So as you can see, there was areas there that the eraser missed, and now it shows up. Again, you see this very bright white lighting here. We got to get rid of that. There we go. There we go. And again, we can take the eyes out. And for that, we're going to use the lasso again. And jump back over to the eraser. Wipes that out. I'll be doing this for a few days. I'm not going to be streaming it, but I like to try and do another stream each year for the newer folks that are just coming on board and looking for some tips and tricks that I've picked up over the years. There we go. That'll be Dean Ambrose right there. Or John Moxley, however you want to look at it. I have to change my file up first just so I don't accidentally forget. All right, let's get another couple things done here real quick. We got the New Age Outlaws. I'm definitely going to need this. And again, our lasso tool is our friend. It's going to save us a whole bunch of time. Depending how detailed you want to be, there's some areas in here in the middle that didn't get caught. So we can go back into those with the lasso tool once again. Things like that. And then go back, grab the eraser. That'll wipe that out. Another area over here. And we'll go back in and wipe that out. And it'll just make it look a little cleaner when you put it on the actual t-shirts. Sometimes I get to be a little bit of a stickler for this kind of stuff. Okay, and then we're going to go crop it down again. Like the fact that they kept the WWE logo on it. Okay, and that's all set to go. I feel like we missed one somewhere. We should also have the Road Dog. Again, this is such a clean shot that I don't want to mess with it too much. So just keep in mind how washed out that was. And then you see here. And again, here are the areas that we didn't quite catch with the brush. here. And there you have it. I feel like that'll be pretty good, that one right there. And we'll try the blur on the eyes on this one. And just like that. These are the key elements that you want right in here, and we've got them all pretty much down. All right. Well, that's the gist of what we're here doing. I'm probably going to wrap it up at that for right now. Let me see if there's anything I missed here. If anybody's watching this at a later point in time, you have any questions or something I can help you out with, drop some comments below, and I'll come back and check on this. And starting on the 22nd, when the game comes out, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be going for hours doing creative work, and I'll be streaming all that live, so you can stop by, ask your question, and I will try and demonstrate my solution to it. And in the meantime, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will look forward to catching up with you guys again real soon sometime. Catch you ringside, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Take care.